Hey folks, welcome back to The Rich Minimalist. Manfred here. And today's episode is honestly a big one. We're breaking down the trickiest challenges you run into trying to live in an off-grid tiny house. Now, this is not just hypothetical. These are things I've wrestled with myself. From buying the right solar panels to misjudging just how much juice you actually use when the sun doesn't shine for 4 days straight. I always thought, hey, you slap some solar panels on the roof, maybe have a little backup generator, and poof, you're set. Turns out it's a lot more nuanced. I guess the theme here is, if you run out of power, there's no help desk to call, right? That's on you. Let's start with energy. Off-grid means all your consumers, your lights, oven, internet router, even your phone charger, they're all running from what you generate. Typically, this is solar, but could also be wind. Here's the catch. Working out your real energy needs is tricky. I spent a lot of time figuring out my real consumption, understanding solar system technology and setup, days of autonomy, or location-dependent solar angles. For worst case, you need a backup, so I lean on portable generators. If you are thinking about this lifestyle, that's rule number 1. Build an emergency plan for your energy. Know your backup sources. Be ready to stretch your battery. For me, learning, sometimes the hard way, that you just cannot take things like a hot shower for granted. In fact, I made it a habit to shower cold anyway. It's uncomfortable, so I keep it short, which saves water and gas. And it activates my blood circulation. So every time you use power, you start thinking, is this worth it? So, powering your home. Huge challenge. But let's not forget water. As I mentioned before, honestly, I thought I'd mastered minimalism, but nothing prepared me for losing access to an endless tap. You have to shift your whole mindset. Lots of setups rely on rainwater collection. And, let's be real, sometimes there's more bird poop on your roof than rain in the tank. I kid you not, the first time I realized, wait, I really might run out of water, that was a wake-up call. You gotta filter, purify, store. Even just doing the dishes is suddenly a strategy session. Waterless toilets, like composting toilets, I know they're not the sexiest thing to talk about, but they're part of life off the grid. Every day is about keeping water safe, dealing with gray water, and managing waste. Otherwise, your dream cabin turns into a health hazard fast. Oh, and let me tell you about that miserable stretch in Spain. Days of stormy, dark skies. I ran out of solar, so no pump, no pressure, basically hauling buckets just for a wash. You adapt, but it's humbling. Like, you think you're independent, and then nature's like, not so fast. And then the daily part, checking for leaks, blockages, or weird smells, monitoring levels. Water is never, ever just set it and forget it off the grid. It's always hustle, always a puzzle. It does kind of force you to appreciate every drop though. Water is my biggest constant concern. Okay, so let's switch gears. Space crunch. This is where minimalism goes from nice theory to immediate necessity. You can be as zen as you want, but when you have 6 water canisters, backup batteries, tools, gear for at least 3 sports, a crate of potatoes, winter jackets, suddenly your tiny house feels, well, tiny. And I swear, no storage hack is ever enough. You're always rearranging things to fit. It's kind of a never-ending game of Tetris. And the location? It's never just about pretty views. Zoning laws can sneak up on you and ruin your perfect spot. Plus, I once thought, oh, there's plenty of sunlight here. Yeah, until midsummer when trees go wild and throw everything into the shade, and your solar panels become just expensive roof ornaments. And the wildlife. I love it, but it's not always completely risk-free. Ever met a wild boar mother with piglets? You'd think being close to nature would be nothing but peaceful. But sometimes it's just nature versus Manfred. Who gets the dinner tonight? And who is the dinner? What I learned is that picking a location is about balance. Lots of sunlight for energy, but also some shelter from extreme weather, plus legal peace of mind and access to essentials like food or medical help. A wild, remote location sounds cool, until you realize you can't get groceries for a week. And also, let's not forget the views. My views are outstanding, and what blows my mind every single day when I wake up and watch it while making coffee. Let's talk numbers now. A lot of people assume tiny houses are super cheap. And yeah, there's savings, but it's not all sunshine and rainbows. Your upfront costs might be lower than a regular house, but the money you set aside for maintenance, gear upgrades, new batteries, buying that backup generator after you realize you absolutely need one, it adds up. I made a budget spreadsheet at the start, and no joke, it has more columns than I expected. Build costs, land, insurance, that one surprised me, ongoing upkeep, and emergency supplies. Insurance is a big one. The regular policies don't cover tiny off-grid homes, so you have to dig. Find something that covers your hut, your stuff, and weird disasters. Think hail, fallen branches, maybe even floods or fires depending on your location. I always say, stay as frugal as possible, but don't cheap out on the things that give you peace of mind. If your house blows away or you flood, you'll thank yourself later. Planning your finances around this lifestyle isn't just about cutting costs. It's about understanding truly what stability means when you're off the grid. You need an emergency fund and some buffer for those uh-oh moments, like when your boiler or water pump dies midwinter or a wild storm breaks solar panels. Now the last one is maybe the most underestimated. You become your own handyman, plumber, electrician, pest control, and occasionally therapist. I mean, fixing a leaky pipe at 2 a.m. because your floor is suddenly a swimming pool, that's an off-grid rite of passage. And then there's weird stuff like cleaning solar panels, climbing up there in the wind, hoping you don't drop a wrench in the bushes. You learn as you go, and you always get it wrong first, or at least I do. The flip side to all this is being alone. Early on, I was so busy building shelves and chasing leaks that I didn't notice I was kind of alone, completely alone. At first, it was super fine. Peace, quiet, the occasional turtle passing by, but after a while, the silence can get a little boring. Then, out of nowhere, a neighbor invites me for coffee, brings eggs over actually, and we talk for hours. Suddenly, it hits me that all the off-grid beauty in the world can't replace a little human connection. My big takeaway? You need social interaction as much as you need water or power. Whether it's neighbors, chatting with family or friends, online communities, or just someone to check in with, that's what sustains you. You can go far by yourself, but there are limits. After a while, a bit of help or just a friendly ear really goes a long way toward thriving, not just surviving. All right, that's where I'll wrap up today's episode. Next time, I'll dig into the actual solutions for some of these headaches, especially those power and water puzzles. I'll share how I solved it and review what works and what doesn't. Hope you'll stick around. Until then, appreciate the little things, stay resourceful, and remember, richness comes from the freedom to choose how you spend every day. See you soon.